Hello, good evening, welcome to another episode of Easy 8's Online Painting Club. My name's Danny, and for the next 2 hours I'm going to be sat with you painting my miniatures live on air while you paint your miniatures, hopefully. If you're working on a project this evening, I'd love to know what it is that you're working on, so you can talk about it over here in the live chat. If you're watching back later on, or you just fancy talking later on, you can drop it in the comment section down there later on. We're not just here on YouTube, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and on Discord, where you can join me normally after the shows at the Easy 8 After Party. First of all, I'd like to apologise for being ever so slightly late today. I've come home, it's a little bit of a crisis at home. Everything is okay, it just required my immediate attention. So I apologise for coming in. I've worked so hard to get here on time, and I think that I'm just like a couple of minutes in. I can see that we've got quite a queue of people waiting in the live chat over here. We've got Overlord, we've got Shiv from Table of Horrors, we've got Jeff, hi Dad, we've got Stafford, we've got... Oh, those are all the... That's the whole gang waiting at the moment. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. What's going on this evening? Evening. Got a literally rotting a wisdom tooth here. Oh man, that sounds horrible. I hope you're okay. Please get that seen to. I know that's very difficult in this day and age, but please do, yeah, get yourself checked out, man. Yeah, I agree with Grant from Overlord. Oh man, sorry to hear that. We've all experienced that pain. Do you know what? Sometimes I do get pain in my lower wisdom teeth. It just flares up in every now and again, but some people really struggle. Get it sorted. Getting it ripped out on Monday. Oh, okay, cool. Solution! Solution found. Yeah, man, do you know what? My uncle and my dad have always said, earache, toothache. It just never stops until you do something about it. And yeah, I hope it gets resolved. Hope you're not suffering too much, pal. Anyway, yeah, cool. This evening, I am going to be carrying on working on the project that I've been working on for the last few weeks. Really happy with the way that it's going. You may also notice a slight difference here for the eagle-eyed of you. I've got a new little storage thing here, an extension to my paintbrush rack. A little area where I can keep little tools, my little snips, lots of tweezers, things like that. Just an extension to what I used to have. I gave away my old paint rack, which is identical apart from the extension. You're welcome, Dave, if you're watching. Dave, if you're watching, hit the heart icon, which isn't there for me this week. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not. Yeah, and I've also got downstairs in my living room, waiting to be built, more hobby storage stuff. I buy all my hobby storage stuff from Hobby Zone. It is an epic set of storage stuff, and if you need some sort of solution to your paint storage, if you want little drawers, if you want shelves, little displays, whatever it is, look no further than Hobby Zone. Very affordable, all modular, magnetized, comes with the holes pre-drilled, the magnets in the box. Very affordable, and I've been trying to convince some of my closest circle to invest in some of the stuff. So yeah, over the next few days, hopefully I'm going to improve my storage here, to improve the area around me, because yeah, I've got so much stuff that needs painting, and I've just got so much stuff that's just lying around. It's become a bit of a drag, really, so I need to improve my storage and my studio tidiness. So that's some exciting stuff that's been going on this week. Of course, today is post-election day +1. Very happy that we're through the election. The build-up has been a bit of a drag. There's been a lot of stuff on the way through there. And naturally, being a diverse amount of people that we have in our community, just in our social networks, there's always going to be division and debate, and sometimes that can lead to an unhealthy conversation sometimes. So while the election day is done, and we may have all have voted, some of us may have not, I thought that this evening and every evening should be a safe space where we don't get involved in all of that. Glad to be on the other side of it. I voted myself. I actually voted, and I do like to vote very late. I work. I've always worked on a voting day. I've always worked right into the late of the evening. And voting stopped at 10 o'clock, and I get home at around about 9:30. So I parked my car about sort of 9:35, 9:40, something like that, and I was one of the last few people to walk in there. And I could see their faces. Oh, I just want to go home. But I like to go in within the last sort of few minutes, because I feel like I've had more of an impact with my vote. It helps my brain deal with the process of voting. Anyway, look, we voted. We've had a change of government, for the better or not. Who cares? Let's do some painting. And of course, if you do like what we do here, what I do here, and what these guys help me do over here, please do consider subscribing to the show, because the subscribers are always growing. And when the subscribers grow, when we get more subscribers, it means the community grows. It means we're just bringing more people into that family. And you know what? Like, Easily 8 community has never been better. We're at 193 at the moment of going live on this show. And as I've always promised, the moment you get me to 200, and as long as it doesn't dip back down, it's got to stay at 200 subscribers, I'll let my cats in the studio and they will have free reign of it. They may not actually be all that interested. They might be in for a little bit, meow at the door, and then want to go. But yeah, they do like to eat models. It's one of the things that they do. But you guys have asked to see them. I will let them in at 200 subscribers. And some of you have also talked about a merch line. So maybe I'll get a merch line on the go. Anyway, let's get on with some painting. Please do let me know what it is that you're painting about. Talk about it tonight on the live chat, in the comment section, wherever it is that you want to talk about it, and show me some pictures. There's been some cracking stuff lately. Anyway, let's go on over to the workbench. Here we go. So don't worry about the calamity that I've come home to. It's just some problems that just needed a little bit of attention. Just meant that I had to focus. Do you know what I mean? There just needed to be some things. So we're all good. Everything's good at home. Everything's great. It does mean that I will not be on the Discord show after this show. The Discord channel after the show. Just because I need to go home and sort out a home base and be there for the people that need me. So check next week. I'll be on like briefly, like clean my brushes, say hello to everybody, but then I'm going to bounce because it's important to look after those people that need your help, right? Cool. So what am I working on today? I am working on my little Ruststalkers. I am really liking these guys. I've had a few friends over the last week having a little look at them, and everyone really likes them, and I'm really happy with the colour play on them. So to bring this one into view right here. Oh, my lights are very bright this week, aren't they? What is going on there? I'm just going to enlarge my screen so I can see a little bit clearer. Maybe I won't. Okay, cool. There we go. Lovely. So, yeah, this is one of my little dudes. See if I can bring him into focus a little bit more. Where is it? Where's the There's our focus. Right there. Love that. Cool. So, yeah, the colours, they're really working for me. They look a little washed out on my screen. I hope they're not too washed out on yours. You can see that I've got some blue overalls or a bodysuit. Like it goes on the backs of their heads, it goes on the tops of their arms and their legs. And I was going to paint the sides on their torso, but I decided to paint all around their torso in the gold colour. It was actually brassy brass. I wanted the armour to look like it was all encompassing around the organs. All the silver in it is all the same colour silver, all washed down with Basilicanum Grey. And I've also put Basilicanum Grey on everything but the overalls, basically. So that grey colour is worked on the brass, it is worked on the crimson face mask, which I think looks really dark and quite evil. And I'm going to brighten those up a little bit by going back in with a little bit of crimson red, just to pick it out a little bit. A bit of a mini dry brush, perhaps. I might even bring out some of the edges on some of the brass, but I'm not really all that fussed because most of them are hunched over. You can't see the details on them all that well. What I do need to do is, like this particular one here, I have actually put some wash on these guys, a little bit of blue tone from the Quick Shade range of Army Painter, and that is the colour that I use on their overalls to kind of show all the creases in them, add a little bit of shadow, a little bit of depth, and to get the colour blend right from the book that I saw them in. It was actually the Codex, but it looked really good. I still am, like, it is really bright on my screen. Is everybody happy with the level of brightness? My hands are, like, reflecting an awful lot of light today. Maybe I should dim my light a little bit. Is that a little bit better? That feels a little bit better. Yeah, that's quite nice, isn't it? Crumbs has joined us. Hi, Crumbs. How you doing, pal? Evening, peeps. Whiskey numbs the pain, or you get so smashed you don't care. Yeah, absolutely, totally agree with that. I'm not a whiskey fan. I don't like the flavour very much, which I feel like I should like the flavour. It feels like a refined gentleman's drink, doesn't it? You should like the flavour. But also it gets me really drunk very quickly. My boss worked that one out. I just had 2 doubles with him, and I had the worst hangover the next day. On a first aid at work training course as well. That was, yeah, the irony was not lost on me. I think what I need to start off by doing is catching this guy up with these guys. Obviously he's got his brass armour painted up in there, but he needs all the staining. So he needs some staining on the brass work, I need some staining on the metal. Now I need to be a bit careful here because there's a chance that I could get a lot of that stain on the orange cloak that he's got, and I don't want to do that. Basically, yeah, short story there. Don't want to do that. So that's where I'm going to start. I'm just going to pull my chair in a little bit. Cool. Sort myself out. I'm still wearing half my uniform. That literally is how pressed I was getting in the door. I have been in the lashing rain today, 35 feet off of ground level, attached to a pole with some ropes, training my staff on how to do what it was that I was doing, and dealing with the weather. I am still wearing the wet, soggy boots that I've been wearing for the last 10 hours. So, yeah, commitment to the Easy 8 show. Here we go. What am I going to do? Let's get some Basilicanum Grey. Here, we've got some Basilicanum Grey here. I'm going to give that a shake because it all settles at the bottom. Let's just shake it. With some mixer balls in there. Yeah, starting to come through. Look at that. So, last week we were talking about the sensitivity of the microphone. And that as I move around the studio, obviously, my voice is going to diminish. What I've done is I've just whacked up the gain on it. I'm at 85% right now. Let me know how you feel about the volume. Could it be more? Because I can go from 85. This is what we're like at 85. If I just crank it up a little bit, I'm going to go up to 95. Here's 95. Is that too much? You tell me. You're the guys listening to me. Yeah. Shiv from Table of Horror says, I'll see if I can get a script for some Jack Daniels. Do you know what? Honey Jack, I can handle that. I don't really class that as whiskey. Bourbon, really, you know. I know it's a whiskey, but whatever. Yeah, I like that stuff. A valid driver's license or at least looking over 25 at your local office is the only script you need. Yeah, love it. Cool. Let's bring this guy into question. Here we are. So, I'm going to pipette. I'm going to get some paint in my pipette. I'm going to bring my little palette in over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to do a 5 just for luck. There we go. I'm only doing one figure, but whatevs. Clean out the pipette at the same time. There goes the clean paint water. Huh. 85 was fine. Do you know what? Back to 85. There we go. Back to 85. Sounded a little bit better. Mick says, Brethren Tabletop. Hi, Brethren. Hi, Mike. I can see you all joining us there. Pardons and stuff. Yeah. Don't want to push it too far, do we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5 drops of water to my 5 drops of Basilicanum Grey. We're watering that down 50%. Because it's a great mixture to use on metals. I'm going to come in with my 000 from my new paintbrush storage. Everything's running away from me already. Stay there. Thanks. Right. I think I'm going to start with the brass. First things first, I'm going to mix it up. That's something I need to do. There we go. That's better. What is everybody working on this evening? Can't only be me working on something. Surely someone else is doing something this evening. Tell me. Love hearing the stories about you guys all painting your work. It really gets me fired up about, you know, running the show. I genuinely, I say this a lot, but I genuinely look forward to the show. I know that no matter what my week is, there's always going to be a couple of hours at the end of the busy, horrible, yucky, wet, cold week for me to jump online, paint some miniatures, get some stuff done, have some hobby time with all my online friends, of course. They're not two separate hobbies for me anymore. Streaming and painting, they're the same thing. Love it. So just trying to make sure that I've got enough stain in there to pick out the individual armour plates. Give it a little bit of a filter, but where I think it's come on a little bit too strong, just come in with a clean but damp brush. Just wick and some of that stain away, move it around a little bit. spending a bit too long painting this guy's crutch, to be honest with you. We need to move on from this area. Okay, we're done in that area. It's not going to be too hard painting around that cloak. It's just going to be these bits here. So I think first of all, I'm just going to do the easier bit, which is the legs. If I just paint everything sort of from the knee down, because that I can just fire and forget really, just slap it on, make sure I'm happy with the coverage and move on. And when it gets closer to the thigh where his blue overalls are, just need to be a little bit more careful there, so I can just slap this on. Shiv says, I've just finished a Space Marine bike, working on the wife's Escher gang again now. Exciting stuff. Please do post pictures of your Space Marine bike. I would love to see that. Is this one of the Horus Heresy bikes? Is it a grav bike? Because I know that they had grav tech in that era, didn't they? Do you prefer the grav bikes over the normal bikes? Personally, I'm not a fan of the bikes full stop. I just think Space Marines on bikes is a little cheesy, I suppose. That's not to take away from what people like. If you like bikes, you like bikes. Good for you. Whole armies have been made with Space Marines on bikes, and that's cool. I do like land speeders. I think land speeders are absolutely brilliant. There's a little plug just there that hasn't been painted silver, so I'm going to have to come back in and neaten that up in a minute, aren't I? Right, so we painted all around the leg, all around the thigh, stump bit, that's one leg done, cool. Ticking boxes already. Jeff says, World War I, late summer trench works, big order, photos or it never happened, please. Love that. Dave were here, that would be a hit. He loves that. Crumb says, I don't know yet, unsure. The current sculpt for the Chaos Bikers are old enough to vote. Yeah, sure they are. Trying to be just a little bit more careful on this leg here, because it's just obviously going up underneath his cloak just in here. And even though I've been a little bit crude painting the silver in there, like it doesn't go all the way up that leg, I think I should still try and be careful a little bit. I can see that I've taken a little bit of care and attention on this side of the leg, because the piston that kind of runs right up on the inside of his cloak has been painted quite neatly. Well done, me. Sometimes my mixture is a little too thin. The 50-50 mix, a little too thin sometimes. And I, like on the feet here, for example, like I feel there could be a bit more shade, a bit more render on there. And sometimes when I do that, I just go straight to the pot, apply a little bit more, and then sort of blend it in with the bits that have been added on with the water. So that, yeah, I'm going to come back to it all in a minute. I'm just going to do this arm here because it's easy to reach. Taking my time a little bit now because I've got the potential for splashing it up the cloak, and I'm hoping that if I do that it'll be a quick and easy fix. Just got to come in with a paintbrush, neaten it up. But yeah, if I don't have to, even better, right? See that I've got a little bit of blue paint from his overalls on his thumb claw there, because he's got clawed hands. He has a claw on his thumb, right? Nice. Can I get his 2 sword arms painted? Let's do this one. Shiv says the older model bikes. It's the older model bikes. I do have the Heresy bikes, but not got around to the anti-grav stuff yet. Storage on those things is an issue for me. Yeah, fair. Space Marines on bikes look better than Space Marines on wolves, says Adrian. Do you know what? Damn straight. Can't argue with that one. Yeah, that was a poor design choice. We both remember when they released these bikes as new sculpts in the shops, right, Crumbs? Yeah. Right? Yeah, I don't remember when they were released. I remember them being released not too long prior to me finding them out. Space Marines on bikes is not as good as Marines on a unicycle. Is that like half the price of a bike? Yeah. Yeah, I'm old enough to remember those along with the Monopose Death Guard Plague Marine 2nd edition. Yeah, I don't remember those. Not to say that I wouldn't remember them if I was showing them, but I don't have a memory of them right now. I came into the hobby around about 93, maybe 94 at the latest, but no earlier than 93. One of those 2 years, just trying to kind of put it into chronological order when I was at school, where most people find out about the hobby. God, I've got an itchy finger. God, I get that. That's nice. Yeah, I'm just trying to remember roughly where it was, because 2nd edition came out in 93, I believe. I was actually just watching a very nostalgic video from the painting phase, one of the few videos that doesn't include Peachy himself. And it's definitely worth watching, and it's all about what decade was the best for the Warhammer 40k hobby. Was it the 90s, was it the noughties, or was it the 2010s up to the 2020s? And there were 3 people, and they each had a decade each, and they all put their arguments forwards. And they didn't choose their decade; they were randomly assigned them, and they had to, whether they agreed or not, they had to pitch an argument for it. And I'd be really interested to know, for those people that know 40k and have been around for long enough to know one of the decades, what is their favourite decade? The 90s, noughties, or the early, the 2010s? And why? Now, I agreed with a couple of the people, actually. They went with the 90s, because while there is a lot of really good concept and models are made beautifully, especially in the 2010s, where you had multi-part plastic model kits for Space Marines with multiple poses. Oh, the possibilities were virtually endless. Oh, it was just fantastic. The 90s have just got the nostalgia, and nostalgia is a powerful thing when you get older, isn't it? It's I remember flicking through the codexes and the books and things and looking at all the artwork and just being a very easily influenced geeky child and be like, this just appeals. And those influences stay with me to this day. Like, I remember the pictures that I was looking at, and I know that the art has also come a long way, so while that art might be dated by now, it's still a part of the history that you have getting into the thing that you're so passionate about. And I think that nostalgia is such a powerful thing. It's not just, oh, that's nostalgic, I remember when that was a thing, oh, the good old days. When are the good old days? You never know that you're in the good old days until you're looking back on them. And yeah, it went there. It was a really deep video, and I'll see if I can link it, or you can just go search for it, because it's a really easy one to find out. Just what decade is best by the painting phase. Don't do it now. It's over an hour long. Stay with me. But just an incredible discussion with people who know what they're talking about, and it was nice to relive all that. Would I go if I could pay money and go back to it? Would I? Yeah, I would. One of the guys came up with the argument that that the current sort of decade is the best, because always looking forwards, even with all the controversy around all the new builds or whatever. But I was really happy to see that they agreed with me on the fact that we all like the scale increase. The scale increase was a good and necessary move. Like the game has always been a 28mm game. And then it went into what is known as heroic scale, or also 28mm heroic. And then it became 32mm. And there's just more space on your model to paint all the cool stuff and create narrative. And if you compare Warhammer 40,000 to Bolt Action, the same. The sculpts and the molds and everything are just fantastic still, but the quality of the model on an infantry person between 28mm and now 32mm heroic is just unfathomably. The difference is just almost immeasurable. It's such a big gap. There's just no contest. Do you know? Like, the infantry are very good infantry for Bolt Action, but they just pale in comparison to the quality and the size and the paintability of your miniatures in 32mm heroic. And there's value for that. Now, do I think that getting rid of what we now colloquially call Firstborn Marines, do we think that's a bad move? Yes, I do. We have to accept it. We're moving on. Things do move on. We are creatures of habit. We don't like change. But when we joined our hobby, we weren't the first people into the hobby. There were people into Rogue Trader. And those of you that are just old enough to remember Rogue Trader, you weren't the first people into Rogue Trader. You know, we always move on. And if you look back at all what we call the nostalgic models, they're not that great. I mean, they're nostalgic and it's fun, but single pose, two-part models with a press-on set of hands and gun that slots into a hole in their chest is not a model, you know. But it's what we had at the time and we loved it, and that's nostalgic, and that's a beautiful thing. But the hobby moved on, and we are in danger of getting left behind. And I think that all those nostalgic things should be given room to rest within the hobby as we go on. It is unlikely that in the next edition rule set or the next Codex of Space Marines that comes out within this same one, within the same rule set, if a Codex comes out, it's very unlikely that we'll be left with the old style Space Marines. And I think that that's a bad thing. I think that there should always be scope for them. I think we should still be able to have tactical squads. And if we're going to get away from them, I think that we should still be able to create the traditional tactical squad, but in the new scale. And I think that's a beat so badly missed. I love Primaris, I think they're great. And one of the arguments that these guys put up is that while the scale increase is great and the models are wonderful, the way that they introduced them into the lore, the setting, was bad. And there were counter arguments for why they did that, and they don't stand up to me, really. They don't stand up to reason. But the fact that they are infallible, super genetically enhanced people was just puppycock. It was rubbish. I didn't like it. They should have just done, oh, here's the next bit of armour. Hey. And the models got bigger. Good for you. You know? But we are the fans. And this is going to sound like I'm a Star Wars fanatic. We're the lore masters. The hobby is whatever you want it to be. If you're a painter, you're a painter. If you're a gamer, you're a gamer. If you just like the setting and you like reading the books, then that lore is yours. It is not mine, it is yours, and you can do with it as you want. And if you want to create your Space Marine army and have just Firstborn people in it, you do it. Carry on doing it. Don't let anyone tell you to do otherwise. If you like the new guys and you don't like the old stuff, same applies. If you want to create nostalgic but modern versions of what we used to have using new miniatures, do it, and don't accept no substitutes. You fight for what you want. You should be allowed to play that, and you are. So yeah, it was a nostalgic video. Go and watch it and let me know what you think. And when this video is processed at the end of this day, I will put a little link in there for those people that are watching back later on and want to find it. So here I am having a little look at this guy's all his silver work, and I can see that I have, I think, pretty much caught everything with this shade. Just making sure that I'm coming in behind something. I'm probably going to change all the colours of these pipes and dangly bits or whatever they are. cool stuff that no one knows what it really is. But if I choose not to later on, at least I've stained it now and I don't have to do it again later. I'm just trying to make sure that every time I spin it around and I come in at a different angle, I've got it all. I don't want something to be standing out because it's too shiny and I missed it. Now we've got a couple of little bits sticking out to his little mouthpiece there. So I'm just going to get in here. Like that. Now, we've got some shoulder bits here, and I haven't painted them yet. And I think I need to. Obviously, I need to wait for all of this paint here to dry, and that might take a little while. That's fine. But I need to decide what colour I'm going to do it. Shall I do it silver? Shall I do it brass? I'm thinking brass. It might blend in with the orange a little bit, but I want it to stand out from the silver, and I want him to look a little bit more unique. So I think I'm going to go brass. And that'll make the silver parts in his mask show out quite well as well. Cool, let's go popping down for a minute, wash my brush out. Let's go back over some of his comments because I went off on a bit of a rant there. Loved that. That was great. That was good fun. I felt it was good. Crumb says, I wonder when the Emperor's Children Codex is going to come out. They were talking about all the different Chaos factions on that video, and I can't remember how they finished off on that subject. I think that they were talking about World Eaters, and that they are expecting a World Eaters drop soon. So if that's the case, I wouldn't think that it's going to be too far away. Table of Horror says, we all know 2nd edition was the best era of Warhammer. Yeah, I agree. Not for the rules. The rules were great. They were very lengthy and involving, and I think that 8th and 9th probably dialed in to an improved version of that the best. 10th has moved away from that, and it was really bad, don't like that. 8th and 9th are really good. 9th is the best with a couple of home rules, house rules. I don't like vehicles being able to shoot in any direction beyond their turret thing. So, for example, I recall a mission that I played. My friend had some had some guys in a ruined house, and I flew my gunship past them, and my guns were not lined up in a line of arc in any way, shape, or form. But as per the rules, 360 effect. It took the challenge away. It took away the fact that I had to line it up. So we started house ruling from that moment that actually your turrets and weapons facings count. They have to count. It's a simple thing to add in. It doesn't. There's no like lasting effects from that. Nothing kind of. There's no chain reaction from that effect. So little things like that go a long way. So 9th edition with some house rules is the best version of the 2nd edition era, I think. But the style, the feel, the vibe, the art, the nostalgic little pictures that came in all the books and the White Dwarfs. Does anybody remember one of the things that stands out so much in my mind is a picture of like an industrial building, very, very basic, with I think some Marines and some Orcs fighting beside it, and it had like a little chain link fence, and there was a pool or a lake or a deposit of water, and there was a pipe, and it was plunging what looked like toxic chemicals into this thing. That, to me, is the most iconic thing that stands out in my memory of all of the things that rest in my memory from that era. That and Furiosa Dreadnoughts, because they're sick. I loved it. I love that era, and I was such an easily influenced, lonely little boy. That just appealed to me so much. I say lonely little boy, that was just me trying to milk it. Of course I had lots of friends who was all into it, but yeah, loved all that stuff. Right, what am I going to do now? Let's look at these guys here. I would really like to get a little bit of features coming out on their faces, because I think that face features really sells the model. So I've painted them crimson, stained them with that grey colour that I've just been using, and I want to go back to crimson to just bring those details back out again. So here's my crimson colour, just gory red from Vallejo. Give that a shake while I flick through the comments here. Crumb says the 10s because the models are detailed but not overly complicated to put together. 800 pieces for a space marine, anyone? Or 2 pieces for chest on top of a domed waist area. They speak very specifically about the domed torso. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, love that. The models, I got a 3rd edition, not 3rd edition, I've got a 2010s Carnifex. I've got 3 of them. Over 1,000 combinations. Love it. There's so much stuff in there. Yeah. Crumb says, recently I found... oh no, I see Shiv said, damn Danny's calling us out right now, Crumbs. Yeah, that's right. Crumb says, recently I found some of my Marauder Metal Dwarf miniatures. I am tempted to paint one of them up at some point in time. Don't ever get rid of your old lead or metal stuff. They are worth a fortune in monetary value, and that means that there is an associated nostalgic longevity that's so much more valuable. And some of those, do you remember the early captains? They're like worth £200. Yeah, so like keep them, do them up, and pay dividends to your childhood. You've got to. Table of Horrors says, I got a great haul on eBay this week. 10 second edition Death Company minis, excellent for making veteran sergeants in Horus Heresy. Brilliant. Metal Death Company, you say? Yeah. Used to have 20 of those and 3 Furies. You still got them somewhere in deep storage. Let's go get them one day. Cool. There's a little bit of red. I'm wondering the best way of doing this. I think if I want to do like a bit of a not so dry brush. So what I'm going to do, first things first, wet your brush. Yeah, there we go. Cool. Got my Army Painter Wargamer Regiment brush. And I'm just going to dip it in the glory red, just saturate those bristles in it a minute. I'm making this up as I go along. I'm just going to wipe out most of it. I don't like dry brushing, so I try to change it up a lot. Looks like I've bled on that, doesn't it? Cool. And all I'm doing is just really wiping this semi-dried, semi-wet, weak paint just across the raised surfaces of these masks in an attempt to just sort of brighten them up a little bit. But just in the middle there, really. It's not really working as well as I thought it would do. The paint that I've used is an airbrush paint, so it's very, very watery. It probably should have gone to a slightly more viscous paint. I've got a very noisy wood pigeon outside my window, just up there. I can hear it through my noise-cancelling headphones. I wonder if you can hear that little pigeon. Give it a rest, mate. Okay, that's not working as well as I wanted it to, and it's just down to the viscosity of the paint. My bad. What I'm going to do, just down here, I have a big box of brush paints, the same range but not for airbrush. And I should have in here a gory red, gory red, bingo. Pop that down here. There we go, same colour. It's just settled a little bit, so that actually needs a vigorous shake, doesn't it? Nearly couldn't undo that. Blech. It's a bunged up bit of paint. Cool. Right, same process. Different type of paint. Now I know that like elite dry brushers out there will be like cursing me for what I'm doing right now. Leave me alone. Like, apparently wiping your dry brush off onto paper, towels or whatever is just like a big no-no. And here I am doing it anyway. Well, it's actually working, but the brush is a little bit on the big side, so okay. It's just a bit hard to control around the silver that I painted. So do you know what? I'm gonna go to a number 1. Yeah, no, number 0. That's working. I know exactly the look that I'm going for, and I know that if I go in and actually paint a layer, I'm going to lose the effect that I'm trying to go for. So I'm very specifically trying to keep this sort of very rudimentary dry brush thing in there, and it's working. It's working. Cool. What are the guys saying about me over here? For the love of God, buy a new Raz. Don't like me shaking the painters, do you? I will get one. I will get one. The amount of manual hand wazzing he's doing is now he's bound to go blind sooner or later. Are we allowed to say hand waz? It was a question on everyone's lips last week, and I don't think we answered it. So, answers on a postcard. Written by hand, of course. Maybe it's a line of merch that I can go for. Anyone for... No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. I stopped myself. We should go for a commercial break right now. So, by doing this little technique here, I am actually going ever so slightly over some of the silver trim that I've put on here. And that is a bit of a nuisance. But I'm just going to have to go in and just tidy that up. I'm just looking for this very, very soft feathered effect. The tissue is unnecessary at this point. I think so, just wiping it off on my hand. Basically, I'm just trying to go in with a really reduced amount of paint. I suppose this is essentially dry brushing. Just with a detail brush, really. Yeah, that's looking good. Back to this one here, just try and match it in with that last one a little bit more. Yeah, that's good. Buy a new Wazomatic. I'm picking up some vibes here. Yeah, those faces are nice. Liking those faces. I might even come in with like a slightly highlighted version later on. Just do like the very, very highest edges, most pronounced edges of their masks. Maybe sit there and think about it because it's coming out so well, and I don't want to like do like one step too far. Nice. I like the balance of colours on them, like the brass, the red, the blue, the silver. It's just got warmth, cold, neutral, in the right scales. Try and make this one stand out a bit more because it's such a small piece, so I might need to go in a little bit brighter with this one. Okay, there we go. That's that. Done. What I am going to do while I'm here is I'm going to just try and paint up the inside of his coat a little bit more because it's the same colour. And I've got a slightly thicker paint, so it could do with a little bit more of a coverage. My concentration voice again, isn't it? Gone very, very quiet there. Yeah, looks pretty good to me. Going to come in with my little detail brush, tiny little thing, and just get on the insides right in here. Yeah, looks good. And one more. Just in there. That's lovely. Cool. Right, a quick sip of my tea. Yum. So I've really got to decide what I want to do with all the details on them, so I'm going to start working my way through some of those now. I know what I want to do is start picking out some of the pistons on their legs and on their arms. I'm going to do that with a bright silver just to make them stand out a little bit more. Some of the bits around the pistons, like, I don't know, the slidey bits on pistons, I'm going to try and paint a nice gold colour. Just to add a little bit of accent to all the stuff that's kind of going on here. I'm also going to try a bright silver on the sword blades and then like add like a blue ink over top of it to try and make them look like they're glowing, but in a very sort of naff, cheap sort of way. And then I suppose I should probably start adding some blue wash to their overalls as well. It's quite a difficult paint to get right. It wants to pool and not cling in the right way, so you have to kind of move it around a little bit, and it has got a glossy sheen to it, so looking forward to putting a bit of matte spray on these guys to balance that all out on there. So yeah, gonna try and tackle that. So do you know what I'm going to do now, because I know that's a little bit on the tricky side? I'm going to do that now. So get a bit of blue, throw the paint. A couple of drops in there. It does go quite a long way, this stuff. And it's a good quality paint. Army paint to make good stuff, you know. Gonna stay with my 000. And I'm going to get some blue wash. Not watering this down at all, just like to keep it exactly as it is. And I'll just move it around on there. So I'm going to start on his heed. You can see that it adds a nice filter effect. But I want it to filter and to pool, which is why I don't water it down. So I need it to behave in the viscosity. Is that even a right sentence? You're not trying to say. If I water it down, I'm gonna lose the properties that I know that this will provide you with. I find it very easy to rush with washes. Just gotta take your time, right? Crum says I found 15-year-old metal dwarfs from the late 80s, early 90s, including Joseph Bugman, but the banner has snapped off other than that he is in perfect nick. And you've got no idea where that banner is, huh? I wonder if anybody out there in the 3D printing world has a file for Bugman. You might be able to find his standard his standard, so that you can at least paint him up and do him as he would have been. And then one day, if you ever find the snapped off piece, then you can just replace it like for like. Bet they're worth a little bit now as well, aren't they? So nostalgic. Getting a good application actually with this blue wash to date. Maybe it's just because I'm going in with less of a rushing attitude. Maybe I was rushing it last time. Don't rush things, folks. Okay, cool. There's that one done. Moving on to this one. Someone came and had a look at these miniatures the other day, came into the studio and had a look at my paint job, and he said, do you know what? Getting really strong vibes of the guy from Hellboy, the Clockwork German assassin guy. I think he's supposed to be a colonel. And I was like, funnily enough, that is exactly the inspiration that I used. And I remember talking about that a few weeks ago, saying that was, yeah, absolutely the vibe I was going for. So that just helps me know that I've done well with these guys. This guy's got a little bit of torso showing through, or a little bit of a waist area there. It's a bit unusual compared to the rest. I'm lucky I could find that. I have moved countless times, but the model is still decent. Ah, okay, and reference to the Joseph Bugman model there. That's cool. It's nice when you find these little things, isn't it? Little connection back to the past. Just making sure I've got all the way around there. Cool, that was a quiet one, wasn't it? Ooh, a little bit of concentration. Oh, Yana's joined us. Evening, everybody. Hello, Yana. How are you? Hope you're doing well. You found us just at the point where I'm about to go for a quick break. So, yeah, soz. But welcome to the show, nonetheless. So, just going to finish it by a cup of tea. And I'm going to go and grab myself a grown-up juice in just a second. I found a nice light session ale. Very excited to try that, so I'll be going and getting that one just in a minute. How am I feeling about the progress so far here? I'm at that stage now where things start to slow down a little bit. A lot of the base work, a lot of the colour blocking is quite quick in most cases, and I've done that quite quick and effectively as well, so it's sped up. So I'm trying to not get bogged down too much, just trying to do the things that I know that I need to do. So just going for those quick wins, those easy wins. So yeah, I've got to get this one guy here, his overall stained, the leader guy here stained, and then I'm just going to go through all those little pistons, start picking out all those details. And of course the big thing that I've got to do here, there's a couple of bits and pieces that I need to touch up. There's a little plug socket on his leg that needs to be done, and a little bit of silver on his claw, so I just need to neaten those areas up. I need to get his shoulder pieces done. He's the only one out of all of these with those, so I need to make that work for him. I've realised that I've missed like a little tentacle thing coming down, and so I need to paint that in there. And then of course I need to stain all that orange. It's going to really dull all that down. But I want to get a lot of that detail work done around it first, so that I know that when I come in and do the orange, I know that I'm only doing it the once. So I can just make a quick pass over without having to like go back in, touch up the orange, go back in, touch up the orange. So yes, I think what I'm going to do is get all these little bits done, and then focus on this guy for a little bit, because he always seems to be the last loved. So yeah, there we go. I'm going to go... What's Table of Horror saying here? Stafford says, yeah, I made it as a break and I'm not leaking yet. I don't know what you mean. Isn't the brake the best time for leaking? Yes, it is, but define leaking. Don't define leaking. Don't tell us what you're thinking right now. Anyway, we're gonna go for a break. So now's a great time to go and stretch your legs, refocus your eyes, have a leak. Go and get yourself a grown-up juice and change your paint water. I'll see you in a minute. Bye bye. Welcome back. Hope you had a good break. Felt a bit shorter today. Did I miss something? Anyway, I went and got myself a grown-up drink. Looks a bit pale, but it's a session ale, and I'm really excited to try this new flavour. That's tasty. Cheers. Happy weekend, everybody. Happy post-election day and all that stuff. Hope everyone's having a great evening so far. Oh yeah, can have a session on that quite easily. Oh, anyway. Cool. Grown-up juice for the world. Just before we went, Staff says, I'm using power tools. Yeah. Please, God, no. I swear the Easy 8 streams feel faster each week. Yeah, do you know, is that an age thing? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Perhaps one day, maybe I'll do like a marathon painting thing where we just all get online for like a day or something like that. See how much we can get painted. Actually, like, set a target or something for how much you want to get done in one day. Going like, I've got to get through X, Y, Z amount, and yeah, see if that helps people or not. I'm having a bit of a problem with the paint that I'm using. It's starting to dry up, and when I've added more paint into it, it's just made the rest of it dry up. It's got a bit gummy. That's a bit weird. That's a peculiarity. Don't like that. I'm going to mix up some more. Anyway, if you're working on a project this evening, I'd love to know about it. Come and tell me about it. You can drop it over here in the live chat. Using the wrong hand. Use it over here in the live chat. Pop it down there in the comment section, especially if you're watching later on after the show's gone live. If you want to, you can catch us up on Facebook, Instagram, or Discord at the Easy 8 After Party, and links to all of our platforms and more are all down there. Go and check them out, but don't do it now because you're right here with us. And while you're here, give this video a thumbs up. I'd love it if you would. In fact, you know what? I'm going to give you a minute. I'm just going to have a drink. You thumbs up the video. Love that. Cheers. Thank you very much for thumbsing up the video. Every time you interact with a video in some way, by watching it, by thumbs up, by subscribing, please do subscribe. Every subscriber goes a long way to making the community grow that much bigger. If you leave a comment, all of these things, it affects the algorithm. All hail the algorithm, and it gets Easy 8 out there, known out there. And you should share it as well, so go tell a mate. You know, never know. Might be bringing people into the fold, and that'll be exciting, right? So yeah, if you're working on a project this evening, come and tell us all about it. It can't just be me today, and there's a few people that have already said some things that they're working on. So let us know. If you want to take some photos, you can put them up on Facebook, you can put them up on Discord. I'd love to see and know a little bit about what it is that you're painting this evening. I'm genuinely inspired by the stuff that you do, so come along and tell us. Or don't. You don't have to. I never knew Al Gore was into music. I don't get the reference. Like, I know who Al Gore is. You're going to have to explain that one to me, pal. I'm stupid. To the bench! Like, I'm really stupid. I'm really sorry. Unless you're friends with Al Gore. So, do you know, also, sometimes, like, my memory is so awful. I don't know what I just said. None of this is scripted in any way. I've tried scripting. I've tried a teleprompter. Awful. I'm reading from a script and I'm looking away from the camera. I can't, mate. It's here. And I grew up wanting to get into show business. Yes, soz. So, just getting these guys covered in this this blue wash, and there's a little bit left that I was using from just a minute ago before the break, and it started to dry, and it has like a slight almost jelliness to it, and when I added some fresh paint to the palette, it didn't just like mix in, it made all the new stuff go exactly the same. So I just had to put a little bit more paint on the side of the palette. I know that was a long story for basically me telling you that I've just had to put more paint down, but you know, the fact that when it mixed, it just kind of, the old stuff affected the new stuff. That's kind of where I was going with that. So I'm just trying to apply this filter to this weird grey-blue colour. And as I'm going around other details, I'm trying to get it to pool against them so that it kind of borders them. Outlines them a little bit. But obviously the more of this colour that I add, the more that it wants to sort of disperse and run across the surface, and it filters it even more. You kind of get this runaway effect, and I'm trying to be quite careful about how I measure that, really. But it is a nice rich colour. I'm not a big fan of painting blue. But when it goes on, like on this shoulder pad here, you can see that there's a nice little outline to it. That's just all wash. There's no effort in that at all. I've just applied it where I want it to go, keeping it away from where I don't want it to go, and it just works. So here we go. Here's this little shoulder here. You can see that it's nice and grey right now, blue-grey colour. Slap this on. Immediately runs into those tiny little recess grooves on the side. Way smoother than most Citadel washes will do. Maybe I need to move away from Citadel washes entirely. Maybe I should just move towards army painter stuff, because I know they do lots of different tones and things like that. I should probably find myself like a sepia tone and a dark tone and a black tone, and just deal with those, because these are very good. We've got a little bit of torso in there. Yeah, that's good. A little bit around the side here as well. Trying to not rush it. I'm getting very tempted just to kind of slap this on. That's an old habit from, you know, painting in my previous years. Slap on a wash and don't worry about it. Just treat it as a sludge wash. Trying to move away from that sort of style, approach. It's not who I am anymore, man. Or is it just the name of the band, that Al Gore rhythm? I just don't get it. Brethren says, I'm creating a quick start version of the campaign system I have designed for Brethren. Very excited about that, and I am acutely aware, Brethren, that a little while ago you gave me a series of your books, and I announced it on the air about I was going to look through your books and talk about the game, whatever. It is still a part of my ongoing project list. Life at the moment, especially around work, is just, and is what has led into some of the issues this evening at home, is just me and my partner just work so much at the moment, and I'm really, really sorry for not getting around to it right away. I am working my way through a lot of like jobs on the side alongside this here, and work as well, and I do very, very much plan to get around to it, and I'm very excited to look through all your rule sets, and I'm extremely grateful for you picking those books up and sending them my way just for me to have a little look at and talk about them on air, and I will get around to it, but because you went out of your way to purchase books for me, rather than just having like a quick chat about them on the show, I wanted to do it, a little bit more. I just have a good read through them. I don't really do like battle reports and stuff. That's not really who I am, and that sort of stuff is out there already. But just to be able to kind of talk about the things that people create in our community is kind of where I'm going to go with it, and I just want to do you a little bit more justice, and rather than having a quick flick through the book and going, oh, this book's really good, you should get it, it's just talk about it a little bit more, talk about you, and maybe give you a bit of a heads up so that we can chat about it here now, like what we are now. So yeah, it is absolutely something that I'm going to get to, and I thank you very much for sending me free stuff. That was really kind of you, thank you very much. Go check out Brethren. There's a link down there. Go and check them out. Do this now, after the show now. And I'm really excited about your World War II rules as well. So yeah, that sounds exciting, you know? Campaigns are where war games are at for me as well. Like, I love campaigns. I love something that goes on a bit. Everyone loves like Necromunda style games where you have like a little gang and you progress and you lose and you don't get to do stuff, and you win and you get to do stuff and you make your people better, and sometimes you miss out because you didn't do so well. I love all of that. Career building, if you like. And I like playing in a campaign where you like fight games over a period of, you know, time with your friends and you gain battlefield control or whatever. You know what I mean? I love that sort of stuff. And you play through a story, because for me, war game is an extension of a story. I love it. Absolutely love it. I'm fascinated by your addition of a campaign rule. Does anybody remember the Warhammer 40,000 campaign where they actually brought out a new rule set with lots of hex tiles? And you can make your own campaign maps. And it took off quite well at the time, and it didn't really go anywhere, and I'm quite surprised by that. I think it was called Planetfall. It was called Planetfall. Yeah, it's in my head. I've got the rulebook for it downstairs. I like all those little rulebooks. I don't keep old codexes and stuff very much. I've got a few actually of old ones that I don't need, but yeah, I don't go out of my way to really keep them. But old rule sets, I've got City Fight as well. I love the concept of that, and I just like to keep older rulebooks. I think it's nice to have a little library of stuff like that. And I know I'm very, very fortunate to have a studio. My partner really likes me having what I call a man cave, where my studio's in, because if it's in here, it's not in the rest of the house. So she's very, very keen for me to have that place, and I'm very lucky to have a partner who lets me have this space. But if I'm going to push it one step further, I want my own library. So I need a bigger studio, essentially, just to have some bookshelves dedicated up here. I don't have the space for it in the studio, just to put all like game books on display and things like that, just so that, you know, they're there. Because you know what it's like when you've got a library at home, you've got like a bookshelf full of books. You read them once, but you probably will read them once again in your lifetime. You know, generally speaking. Well, rule books are the same, right? Am I ever going to play City Fight? It's very unlikely, but one day I might like create my own little homebrew system where I pull in elements of City Fight and I can refer to that game and that rule set. So it's nice to have, and it's also just, it pays into nostalgia, doesn't it? Nostalgia is so valuable. Have it. It's a thing. It reminds you of who you are and what you do. I love all of that. All of that blue is done now. Excellent. That's another tick. Small victories this evening. Excellent. Time for a swig of the celebration beer. Algorithm. Thank you. I would never have got that in a million years. I just read it. Algorithm. Sorry, sometimes your humour is too evolved for me. You're very witty and intellectual, and I am a dullard and a plebeian. Well, I'm so sorry. Jeff says, used the last of my silver paint today. Nothing left in the tube. Must be a good 25 years old. Sad it was. Don't chuck out the tube. Keep it. Put it on the side. 25 years old. That's older than me. Shiv says, so I guess you could say it's long gone silver. Stop it. Algorithm. Yeah, I get it. Look, there are very few Al Gore jokes these days. I'm scraping the barrel. No, that was good, and I missed it, and I'm sorry. Are we ever short on Al Gore jokes? Right, moving on to silvers. I haven't run out of silver. I've got loads of it. Bit of a shake here for a cheeky hand. I'm not allowed to say that, am I? Cool. Just going to shake this up in my hand. This is just standard silver. It's brighter than their other silvers. I'm just going to put a little drop of this in the palette, and I'm going to use this to paint all the piston rounds. And that will just bring a little bit of... Caught that before it got away from me, didn't I? Silver, the notorious creeper. Yeah, I just want to create a little bit of variation in the silver because there's a lot of it. So this worked really well on the Walker model that I did about a month ago. Maybe more than that, actually, probably a couple of months ago. A long time ago. I told you my memory's poor. Just make sure I got no silver on me. Oh, I've got hiccups. That beer's hitting the point. There it is. I'm so sorry. Cool, so I'm going to bring out all those piston rounds, and I'm going to see how bright this stands out, and then it'll make me decide whether I want to paint the sword blades in it. I don't like this silver for painting blades. It feels a little too bright for it, just for my own liking. One of my closest friends used to collect high elves a long time ago, and he used to paint all their blades in bright silver because he said it suited the elven thing. And I agree with him. So there is a place for it. I like to use it for like polished steel, or like, you know, brush steel, things like that. And the piston rounds are always very, very shiny, aren't they? And see how much depth already that's giving us. Shiny little piston rams just sticking out there. We've got some little piston rams on the front. I'm calling them piston rams, and I'm fairly certain I've had this conversation before with you guys. Is piston ram the right word here? Piston pole, piston rod, piston shaft? That sounds a bit weird, don't like that very much. Yeah, let me know. Shall I paint that little bit that sticks out at the bottom down there? Oh, should I? Am I over detailing it? Do I have to paint the little bit that sticks out at the bottom of the foot? Oh, what do you guys think? So if I bring this up a bit closer, we've got the piston here. It's very shiny. There's a little detail, a little nugget that sticks out at the bottom here. Do I paint that? Is that the rod that comes through? What do we think? Oh, decisions. I don't know. I think I should. Anyway, while you're helping me decide that, I'm going to move on to the next piston ram. Little one here on the front. Pick that little detail up there. Bit of a tricky way to go. Can I? Yeah. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. I like that. It's a nice accent silver. And I think I will paint the sword in this. And I'm going to stain them as well. So this will have the same effect, because I really like the effect that the Sicaran Grey has given to these. I just want the blades to be a little bit, I want them to stand out a little bit more. I want some attention drawn to them, and because there's a lot of silver here, I want them to stand out a little bit more. So I think I'm going to paint them in this silver, and then stain them again with that grey, which I've still got a load of. And I'll do this one guy first. And just see how that works, and then I can put like a little wash of blue over it, blue ink or something. These little bits up here might not be pistons, but they look like nice little details to pick out, again, just to add some variety, breaking up the monotony of one colour. Don't want it to be too monochrome, grayscale. Oh yeah, monochrome. Piston broke. Is that a word? Is that what the bars are called? lush. Love that. That is good. I think just for simplicity, I'm going to leave those little bottom bits down there, maybe. Yeah, I just want those little bits to stand out. Not going to overdo it, right? No need to overdo it. Cool. Let's paint the blades. Leave the details that are on there. Leave them the same colour. Yeah, that's good, like that. See how they just stand out a little bit more? That's cool, isn't it? Stafford says, it's what I was the majority of my 20s. Skirting around the edges of what is acceptable in our language on the show. Pushing boundaries. I love it. I love puns. How is everybody's painting coming on this evening? I keep going into these little quiet spots and ignoring you guys. How are your projects going on right now? Are we having any luck? Is anyone having any disasters? Does anyone need to talk about a failure or a struggle they're having this evening? Or are we all like winning? Really enjoying painting these little Martian style miniatures lately because I was talking to a friend the other day and I feel like I've spent a long time trying to find the right scheme or the way to affect that scheme, and I've been struggling with that in like recent months with these guys, and I finally by accident worked out how to make it look the way that I want to, and since I've done that I'm just kind of cruising through them and it feels like I'm actually painting, you know, and not just playing around with things and trying to work out the best way of achieving XYZ. Said it before, I'll say it again, I think like a true artist isn't about how good you do something, because art is subjective, but in the mind's eye you'll have an image of what you want to achieve, and I think that the test of an artist is down to how well you interpret that physically in the real world from what is in your mind. And of course that is subjective, and we can never see the picture in your head, so your art is only as good as you say it is. And yeah, I very much had an idea, an impression of what I wanted these to look like, and I could never quite translate that down in the real world, and I really wanted to. And it's only recently that I've managed to do that, and yeah, I'm just having quite a lot of fun playing them. And I know that they're very, very incredibly nerdy, and like even the subject matter of, like, you know, super religious Martian assassin robot clockwork things is just incredibly off the charts nerdy. But you cannot deny, if they made a movie with these guys in it, everybody would watch it. So if you've got a problem with me being nerdy about this, shut your hole. Table of Horror says, oh, my wife started to paint her first Millie last week watching Easy 8. She didn't finish it, but for her first painting ever, she did very well. A moment of silence, please, for your wife. Thank you very much. That is wonderful news. Moment of silence. That's great. I'd love to see pictures. If you're so inclined, please do share them on Discord or on Facebook, whatever you like. Or don't. If you don't want to share your work, that's fine. I love it when people like have a go at something. Years and years ago, I had a friend who painted a corn berserker for their first ever go. It was just amazing. It made me want to throw all my brushes in the bin. They weren't there to stick around at the hobby. They're just having a go. It was great. Just need to wash my brush out. It's getting a bit claggy. Not the simplest of tasks painting these swords, but it is quite fun. Painting around those little details near the hilt is actually quite tough. Just try to make it look nice and neat and tidy. Excellent. So now, just like from a slight distance, those swords, they stand out, right? That's cool. I love it. Just the simple little thing. Just going to let that dry a little bit. And yeah, I'm going to stick a small amount of that grey wash over them. Just give them a little bit of depth, a little bit of character, make them look a little bit grittier. And then a bit of a blue ink over top of them, make them glow real nice. Now I could use the blue tone, but the blue tone's very, very dark and quite an oppressive colour. That's where what I'm really going to do is I'm going to go over to the blue ink and just make them pop a little bit. I want that like kind of electric sort of vibe on them. They're supposed to glow with electricity, so yeah, why not, right? Now there's a part of me that wants to kind of pull some pipes out and whatever with the bright silver here, and I feel like I might be getting a bit away with myself. I'm not going to jump out to that right now. What I'm going to do is carry on painting pistons. So yeah, here we go. Yeah, pistons. I'm so happy as well that your wife did her first painting on this show. That's really nice. Thanks for bringing her along and being a part of it all. Have I missed pistons on this guy? Oh no, his piston. Okay, so there's some pistons between these two knee joint pieces here, and they are closer together on that model than they are on this one. So I thought I'd miss something there, but I did not. Shiny little piston there. Now I'm not going to put the wash on the pistons, that's just for the swords. I'm I'm actually trying to paint within the lines created by the wash application, and just kind of using that already pre-painted bit as free effort, really. Free shading. It looks really cool. I'm gonna paint this one here. This didn't exist on the other model. Maybe it's a different type of leg. Maybe it's because the pistons have closed up because he's all squat down. I'm not going to argue with something that can be countered with something as simple as space magic. Ship says she won't let me share a clip of her work so far, but you have an entry in her vernacular as painting man now. Love that. Thank you. Do you know what? I can take that. Danny, painting man. I'm sure I can make a line of merch out of that somehow. One of my friends has nicknamed me Danny Mangoes, and none of us know why. Not even the person who named me Danny Mangoes knows why Danny Mangoes, but it works. Mangoes. Even drew me a picture of Danny Mangoes, this make-believe superhero character, and drew me a picture and framed it for my birthday. So yeah, Danny Mangoes, man. Coming at you like a bowl of fruit. Yeah, all these little silver details are really starting to stand out. They're quite striking. I really like them. Just trying to make sure they've got some good coverage on them, just so that they're nice and strong and offer a lot of contrast. And this particular piece here, there's still like a little bit of like a mould line that I missed. It's very difficult and a detailed part to try and get, and it was just, I don't know, casting shadows in the wrong way, and it didn't make it look like the silver was on there properly, but I think I've got a good layer on there now. And another reason why I don't want to add any wash onto these piston parts is I want them to stand out, and obviously if I add shade to it, it's going to shadow them away, isn't it? And I don't want that. Yes, that's good. Jeff says, working out how to make a working drawbridge for a 28mm medieval German tower with the two big wooden overhead arms and chains holding the bridge. Not easy, but something that you've done before, though, isn't it? You've done moving and weighted drawbridges before, so it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'd love to see some pictures of that, even a video of it working. If you get a prototype or even a finished build, that would be very exciting. Danny Mangoes, PI, fucking grapefruit. Love that. I'll tell my friend that. They'll like it. I said, why Danny Mangoes? And she was like, I don't know, it just sounds like you look like a Danny Mangoes. She just sometimes will send me a message. Sup, Mangoes? And because I've recently bought a new car, it has no mats in it, like footwell mats. Just one of the things that it didn't have. No dramas, plenty of providers out there. And I found a car mat provider, and they do personalised ones. So just on the trim, so just as you open the door, there's like a little trim where you can have like a personalised bit of text in there, like put your name or whatever. And I've been toying with the idea of putting like Easy 8 in it. But as a friend suggested to me the other day, I believe it was Stafford in their live chat, said that you're the only person that's ever going to see that. So if you had like Easy 8, it's not like you're, sharing your logo around or anything like that. I'm like, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. It's got to be something exciting or fun or personal. So I've been thinking about putting mangoes on it. Okay, that's some more pistons done there. Let's do the arms. We are about 10 minutes from the end of the show, aren't we? Which is a crying shame because I'm having a great evening talking with you guys today. All my menus have got mixed up. Where are my menus? Bring me my menus. There we go. The Mango Mobile. So the Mango now? Stop it. I'm really shoehorning them in this evening, aren't you? It's the amount of painkillers I've been on the past week. Sorry. No, please, apologise not. I'm actually enjoying it. I'm just a little jealous I didn't come up with it myself. But next week I will only have one wisdom tooth left. I'll be one wiser. Stop. Cool. That's two done with their pistons. Let's go back and revisit the first guy that I just did there. Clean this paintbrush out. I want to apply that grey wash to the blades. Use my zero brush for this. Just want to hold a little bit more paint in the bristles. So nice silver swords here. Trying to not go over what I've already washed on the other steels because I don't want it to add too much darkness to those bits. I could actually do a little bit of a blood effect on them as well. I don't normally do that, but I think on these guys it might suit them. What do people think about blood effect on these? Got some of that pooling there. Pooling, overpronounced my pooling. of a Scouser thing to say, wasn't it? Nothing against Scousers, I'm just not a Scouser. Don't know why I said it that way. Running amok. I need it to just stay there a little bit. They're constantly moving it around, but because it's a contrast paint, it will congeal quite quickly, even while it's watered down. Try to make sure it doesn't pull too heavily in one area specifically. Too much there and just removed it. Do you know what? Leave that alone for a minute. Right. Time for a sip of beer. Haven't really touched this very much right now. Stafford says, Grant, if you're still on, buddy, there is a model show in North Devon in August. Yeah, just in case you wanted to attend as Overlord. That's nice. Yeah, sharing all that sort of information is exactly what this community is all about. Just raising awareness of people and the things that people do. Like just down there in the description of this video, there's so many links to people whose work that I've seen that I just think need sharing. Not because they're struggling to share it, just because I want more people to see it. You know, and including my dad, who has Purple Lion Creations. A shameless plug. There you go. Check out Overlord. Check out Brethren Wargaming. Check out Blightforge Miniatures. There's some wonderful stuff out there, and I just, that's the part of this community that I really get behind. So many people are into this, and so many people have got talents, and they offer those talents out to people. And go and check them out, man. And yeah, go and check out Overlord Games online store, because if you want like bolt action stuff, if you want Acting Panzer, if you want Flames of War, if you want Magic the Gathering recently, if you want some dice, go, because it's some awesome deals over there. And Grant is a really swell guy, and I hope Grant's right now, because actually I forgot to mention last week that Grant actually took the time out of his day to drive across the country to come down to my house and invade games night that I run weekly with my friends, and he sat there and taught us, me and my friends, how to play Flames of War, and that was like, you know, several hours each way. And I'm really grateful for that. So thanks, Grant, if you're watching this now or even later on. Cheers for taking the time out of your busy schedule to come on down and teach us how to play that really wicked game. And it was really good, and I thought we were going to win, and then we got our butts handed to us. Ugh. It was an emotional moment. It was an emotional movement. I had a movement. It was emotional. Shut up, Daddy. It's the mangoes talking. So, just going to dampen my brush out here, getting a bit of build up on that contrast paint. So just trying to dilute it a little bit and move it around. Yeah, there we go. a little bit of water to it. Sick. Right, what I'm going to do in a second is I'm going to hit that with a hairdryer and dry up the rest of that Basilicanum grey, and I'm going to stick a blue ink all over it, knowing that if it doesn't look any good, then I can just paint it over again. And I'm just going to do it on the one so that they don't all become like over-painted sword bits, but you will see what that looks like maybe on a photograph that I'll take off of it tonight and put it up later on the Facebook page, or maybe you'll see it next week, depending on where you like to hang out to. Still got some more details to do on them, and I'm going to try my very best to attend to these details on some days off over the next few days. I think I'm almost there with them. Actually, I'm closer to finishing them than I think I am. I do need to hit them with a bit of varnish just to protect the job that I've done on them so far, but also to hide that shininess that you can see on the blue sort of clothes or whatever. I like the masks, they've come out really well. I am going to pop a little bit of white ink into their eye sockets and drop a little bit of blue ink in there as well, to make those eyes kind of glow through. All of their eyes and sort of like, I don't know, optical Auspex gadgets that might be on it, because some of them have got like multiple eyes and the scanners and stuff like that. I'm just going to do them blue, so I think they'll stand out really nicely against this kind of gritty scheme. And also blue eyes is the thing that these guys are supposed to have. Bright glowing blue eye sockets. So yeah, I'm going to pick out some hoses, pick out some pipes, do a little bit of gold work in there. I've got a couple of bulbs on the back of their backpacks. I'm probably going to do those green because it's just a nice colour that isn't really on these. It'll stand out a little bit. And they've got some little pouches on there, which I'm just going to do very basically. Just going to do them a khaki colour, stain them like a light brown sepia colour maybe. And give them a slight highlight if they need it. But again, it just breaks up the monotony of the silver on there. Yeah, might do some gold work around the pistons just to kind of bring a little bit more attention to them, but it might be a bit too much. I like them, I like the way they are. We're looking very, very good. They're sick. And of course I've got to do some work on this guy, but really happy with how the staining came out on his silver. That's really good. Cool. Productive evening, really. It feels a little slower than last week, probably because it is, but for the right reasons. So, anyway, do you know what? Let's come away from here to the silly place. At our age, most movements are emotional in some way, says Shiv. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So there we go. Another week done. I'm so sorry for the very slightly delayed start. Just had to go and deal with, you know, some stuff, some personal stuff. And that's where I'm going to be this evening, unfortunately. So I'm going to pop very, very briefly onto Discord. I'm just going to finish cleaning up here, say hi to the people that want to come and say hi. The conversation doesn't stop just because I'm not there, so if you want to, Discord runs all the time. You can just stay there and have a chat for as long as you want to. You don't need me there to have a conversation with your friends that you've made through this EC8 community. I just need to go and be with the people who need my company this evening through some trauma that has recently occurred. But everything is all cool, so don't worry. Just be there for the people that need you, man. Right? Share some peace and share some love. And that's it for me this week. I hope you guys have had a productive evening. I hope you've got, you know, a lot done. There seems like there's some really interesting projects going on earlier on. Thank you for the stream, says Shiv. Catch you all next week. Yeah, take care, man. See you soon. Thanks very much for coming along. If you have been working on a project this evening, if you've got any work done, take some pictures, share them on Facebook, put them on Discord. I'd love to see them, and it's great to share it with everybody else as well. Thanks very much, Dad. Good show. Cheers, man. Thanks very much. So, yeah. Tell us what you've been doing, show us a little bit about what you've been doing, and until next week, stay safe, be kind, keep on painting, and I'll see you soon. Don't forget to subscribe. See you later. Bye-bye. For the first time in nearly 5 years, I've actually run out of funny things to say on the heat of the moment. Like, I normally come out with like a little witty thing. And this is Danny Mangoes signing out. No, that was terrible, sorry. Bye.